Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Ben, and in this episode of the Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Podcast, I'm chatting to a bloke who's taken a very unique approach to working in the barbecue industry. Hey family, I hope you're well wherever you are and you got that thin blue smoke rolling. This is episode 130 of the Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Podcast, and this afternoon we're chatting with Shannon Walker, the man behind Butcher Wars and a whole bunch of other stuff. But before we get into that, I've got a couple of announcements that I do need to run by you first. The first is that this episode is very proudly brought to you by JAGRD Woodfired. If you're in the market for your next barbecue, grill, smoker, perilla, all sorts of different stuff, they can build it. And if you've got a custom job in mind, Glenn loves a challenge. So do make sure you check them out. We are going to hear a bit more from them later on in the episode. But yeah, do head on over to jagrdwoodfired.com.au. Check them out. Got some great stuff, and big thanks for bringing you this episode. The second announcement is that we do have a free mini ebook available for you on the website. It's the Beginner's Guide to Real Barbecue. So head on over to smokinghotconfessions.com. Have a bit of a click around the website. A pop-up is going to pop up in front of you, and you can enter your details in there, and we'll shoot that little mini ebook straight out to your inbox for you. So if you're just at the beginning of your barbecue journey and you're not too sure what real barbecue is, we've got you sorted. Go on over to smokinghotconfessions.com, check that out. The second is that if you're not there yet, do come and join us over at the Smoking Hot Confessions barbecue community on Facebook. It's a very different type of barbecue group. It's very open. We are welcoming of everybody. All the guff is left at the door, and we just hang out and talk barbecue and have a good time. It's a real nice, positive space to just hang out with some friends and share some barbecue pics and stories and whatnot. The last announcement is if you're watching on YouTube, do give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, and hit that notification bell. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a like and a share. That would really help us out. Drop a comment if you got a question or something more you'd like to know. If you're watching on IGTV, do give us one of those cute little hearts and a follow. And if you are listening on a podcast app, do give us a 5-star rating and review, particularly if you're listening on an Apple device. For whatever reason, we're not too sure, but all those ratings and reviews help to drive us up the Apple charts and expose the show to more people out there. So if you are enjoying the show, if you've liked the series, do make sure you jump on there, give us a rating and review. It would really help us out, and I'd really appreciate it. So as I said at the top of the show, we are talking to Shannon Walker. And so he typically spends a lot of time behind the scenes, but today we're going to bring him out into the light, and we're going to put him on the spot here in the confessional. So he is the man behind Butcher Wars. He works at Black Bear and does a whole bunch of other stuff all related to the meat and barbecue industry. So without further ado, let's bring Shannon in here.
This is the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Podcast with your host, Ben Arnott. How long's it been since your last confession?
Alrighty, Shannon, welcome to the confessional, my friend. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, thanks, Ben. Thanks for having us, mate. Really super excited for this.
Mate, anytime. It is a pleasure to have you here. I've met you at so many competitions now, and I'm actually able to pin down sort of who you are, because you're sort of all over the place in terms of all the different aspects of the industry that you're involved in. So I can put it all into one place now, and I can get a better handle of what's going on. So, mate, tell me, what was the last thing that you barbecued?
The last thing that I was barbecued was yesterday morning. I put on 16 briskets.
16 briskets.
Yeah, that was just for an early morning Wednesday lunch.
Right. So you were just having one or two friends over for lunch then?
Yeah, no, it was at work. It was at Black Bear. My role there is to trim the briskets for them, get them on the pit, get the pit alight. And when the other pit masters come in a little bit later, they like to sleep in. Being a butcher, I get up early and I do all the early work for them.
Yeah, right. So let's start off with the start of the story, I guess. You just mentioned that you're a butcher. Tell us how you got into that.
Okay, so I left school. I didn't do year 10. I left school really early. And I was working part-time at McDonald's. My parents said, if you leave school, you need to have a job. So I rang up McDonald's and said, can I start full-time? And they said, yes, certainly. So the very next morning, I was down there at 5:30. This is before McDonald's used to have breakfast.
Oh, righto.
But we used to open at 6 at this particular store. And the first job was to go up to 7-Eleven, buy some muffins, some bacon, and some eggs. So we actually had a bacon and egg McMuffin on the menu.
Right.
So my claim to fame is cooking the first ever bacon and egg McMuffin at McDonald's.
Oh, wow. There you go.
So I was doing the McDonald's gig for a while. I really enjoyed it. And my parents sort of said, you need to get yourself a trade. So my stepmother at the time was looking at talking to the local butcher, and he said it was a fantastic industry. There's always work. So we looked into it, and there was a pre-apprenticeship at TAFE for butchery. So I went to TAFE and did an IQ test, which you had to do to get into any of the courses.
Really?
Yeah. So they told me I could be a painter or a butcher.
Okay. Yep.
It doesn't say much for my IQ.
I don't know about that.
But so I started a couple of weeks later in the pre-apprenticeship at TAFE, and I was lucky enough that a local shop was looking for an apprentice, and they approached TAFE. And at that time, my marks were quite good, and they put me on. They offered for me to come in and do Saturdays as a wash-up boy, where most butchers start as a wash-up boy. So I progressed there to that store, and that was back in 1985.
Right. Okay.
So it was really hard work back then. Thursday nights had just come in. Sundays were just starting. So it was long hours. I remember the second week that I was there, we had sausages on special for $1 a kilo.
Wow.
So I stayed back in my second week till 9 o'clock every night, a 6 o'clock start.
Yeah. Wow.
And just made sausages with the boss.
Yeah.
So I really picked up how to make sausages really quickly.
Yeah, I'll bet you did. Yeah. What's it, like a 15-hour day?
Yeah, and that was every day of that week.
Wow.
I'd run for 5 days and then turn up Saturday as well and do it again.
Well, you would have known by the end of that week, if given that it was the second week of your apprenticeship, that if butchery was for you or not. If you'd done just a week of 15-hour days.
Yeah, that's right. Like I've always been a hard worker. Like I used to wash cars, take the lawnmower around the streets, and anything for $1.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind doing the extra bit, but yeah, it did become tougher when I got a little bit older. And Friday nights, Saturday nights, going to the club, all your mates are going out. But I did take up part-time work in a bakery. So I'd start at the bakery at 11, finish there at 5, and then go straight to the butcher shop.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it was a good transition into actually getting out there and working. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of kids don't sort of get too much of that experience anymore.
No, they don't. Unfortunately, it's hard to get them motivated and working at a good speed.
Yeah. So, given that you've got this lifelong experience working in the meat industry, and you've got you've made 1 or 2 sausages, as we've just talked about, what is your favourite barbecue, your favourite smoker or grill?
I've got 7 kettles at home, Weber's.
Ah, you're a Weber man.
Yeah, so I'm a Weber man. Before that, I had a 6-burner gas barbecue, which I thought was the bee's knees and unbelievable. And then I got introduced at Meatstock to charcoal, and I have not used the gas barbecue. I've used it once to heat up for a function that I did. So I had to cook for 140 people one day, and I used 7 Webers to cook 12 legs of lamb. But yeah, I'm a Weber guy. I've just been lucky enough to have a use of the new smoke fire. Pellet grill that Weber's brought out.
Yeah.
The boys at Black Bear and myself did a couple of videos.
Mm-hmm.
And really, opened my eyes up to pellet smokers, which I haven't used before.
Okay. I've heard mixed reviews of that smoke fire Weber. How did you find it?
Yeah, well, I found it really good. So the mixed reviews you may have heard were from the previous, from America, the release in America.
Yep.
They've since fixed most of those, or all of those problems.
Okay.
Didn't miss a beat the whole time we used it.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah. Very easy. You got the app on your phone. Yeah. Simple barbecuing, but the flavour was really good.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I did see one of the videos that you did, Chop, what I think was the guy that was in it.
Yeah. A lot of that was all just for the camera. Like, he doesn't really work.
Oh, doesn't he?
No, he's a good bloke, Chop. And yeah, so there's 18 videos coming out.
18?
That Jay from Meatstock's produced.
Wow.
From us and the Weber Kettle guys, and even size involved there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yes. So he's done a few too, and it's really good. And the boys, really love doing it.
Yeah. Jay's a miracle man with those cameras. He does some amazing looking stuff.
He could make me look beautiful.
Yeah. So let's loop back to those kettles. Have you got any interesting ones, collectors ones?
I wouldn't say collectors. I did. The first one I got was a Burgundy.
Oh, righto.
With the gas attachment, and I didn't know much about him. And actually, one of the first guys I met in barbecue was at the Parramatta comp. He was a judge, and that was Golly.
All right.
So it was a beautiful day, actually. I love Golly. But I rang him up and said, I got this Burgundy. Is it any good? And he said, oh, yeah, that's good. And a week later, he rang me up and said, do you want to sell it? So I don't really want to sell it, but if you want it, you can have it. And just give me another one to cook on. I just needed something to cook on. It didn't really bother me whether it was collectible or not at the time.
Yeah.
So next day, I took it up to him. And the very next day after that, I got a brand new Weber in a box.
Wow.
So the Burgundy was worth a bit, I think.
I think it might have been.
which got it traded for another barbecue, which is fine. Money didn't bother me. I got a brand new Weber, so I was happy.
Yeah, can't argue with that, can you?
No. And most of the others have been roadside finds or Facebook Marketplace, $40, $50 ones.
So before the wild inflation.
Yeah. So, I've actually been lucky enough to do a few classes at some of the Weber stores as well.
Oh, nice.
So we ran a home eating barbecue at Marsden Park. We ran a couple of butcher and barbecue classes. So by picking up those little cheap Webers, I learned how to cook on the Weber and did a few classes, which was
right. Very cool. I love that. Yeah. So tell me about Black Bear then. How did you get into Black Bear?
Okay, so Port Macquarie competition, the Black Bear boys were there. I think they actually competed that year, but I heard a little bit about them on social media, and I went up and had a beer with them and had a little bit of a chat. Probably a bit of a pest, actually, asking a lot of questions. Their store's only about 15 minutes from me.
Oh, that's nice.
So about a week or two later, I had some old butcher trays that I thought they might be able to use, so I dropped them into them. They really appreciated that. And then I had, going back to Jay Beaumont, he was in Sydney doing a presentation. And I said, do you want to stay at my house? So he said, yeah, that'd be great. So I sent a message to the Black Bear boys. I don't know if they remembered who I was. I said, Jay Beaumont from Meatstock's going to be at my house on Tuesday night. Can you guys open, because they were only open on a Friday back then. Can you guys open? I don't want to serve him rissoles.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so they said, yeah, no worries. So they created an event called Tuesday Tunes. So they had the Volky, the singer there, and we went down there and we got there about 6 o'clock and there was 150 people lined up.
Oh, wow. Huh.
So we had a good feed there. We stayed there, had a few beers, got to know the boys. And then Chop and Hayden asked me about the invitational, the first, what was the second invitational, the first one that they held. They wanted to do a butchery event. So I created the State Butchery Challenge where we had 4 butchers from each state to come and compete. So it was sort of like the highlight on the Tuesday, with the barbecue teams as well. And, just by building up that relationship with the boys, we did the next one at the Hawkesbury, the same thing, the State Butchery Challenge. And then they got the Vineyard store. And Hayden rang me up and said, would you like to open a butcher shop?
Oh, wow.
We've got a really big venue there. And I said no. I'd had a butcher shop, 20 years previously, and I knew how much hard work it was. So I went out and saw him the next day anyway, have a look at the venue, and 7 hours later, I said, you need to have a butcher shop here. So that was about 11 months ago, and we're just in the process of opening it up now.
Oh, rightio.
It should be a matter of weeks away. We're looking at the 5th of December maybe.
Wow, that's exciting.
Which is also the first birthday of Vineyard. So we'll have a little boutique butchery there. We've got dry aged fridges.
So good.
The sausages I've been making for the restaurant, we have sausages a week, coming up with some unique flavours, and the customers have been loving them. They've been selling out every week. So to be able to sell them fresh will be really good.
Yeah, no doubt about that at all. So until the 5th of December, you've been telling me that you've been sort of the pit master there. You've been lighting the fires and getting things ready. And
doing a bit of butchery trimming, mincing the patties for them because they do all their own patties fresh. And just the first night they opened there, brought me back to my McDonald's days. I ended up being on the grill. We had 400 people lined up to get in.
Oh, wow.
They said, Shannon, you're on the grill. So about 280 burgers later.
That's a lot of burgers. Wow.
It was a crazy night actually, but it was really good. Everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But the boys, we're looking at that meat unit processing a lot of the meats for the other stores as well.
Yeah, I can see that's going to be a pretty awesome deal there. So Black Bear is a real icon of barbecue in Australia. We've just been talking about how they've got the last two international events have been there. What do you think is the secret to Black Bear's success? Why are they so good at what they do?
Really good food. They keep it simple. They do what they do best. We do change the menu now and then. We've tried spring rolls and do that. Like we're doing pecan pies at the moment. So we do tweak it. We do tweak it up a little bit. But the basics are brisket, ribs, pork belly, hot links. Like, the hot link is very, very popular. We don't make it there. I could do a variety of that, but everyone loves the one they got. So why change?
If it ain't broke, yeah.
They're good blokes to work for. They're really, really friendly, really down to earth. They do like to party too. But that's part of barbecue, I suppose. And I think their prices are not over the top, which keeps people coming back. Like the start of COVID, when all the pubs and restaurants were actually shut down, we increased sales by about 38%.
Wow.
Because people were able to come in and get takeaway, and it was something that was open still.
Yep.
Like the KFC probably increased 100% because the lineups to the drive-thru were crazy.
Yeah.
We also had the lineup, so we had to put into place COVID plans to control the people.
Right. So I was going to ask, like, did Black Bear fall outside of most of those COVID regulations, or you just had enough space there you were able to still get some people in?
Yeah, well, as far as when it was actually, we couldn't have anyone seating. So we went from 170 seats, we're now down to about 100.
Ouch. That's a significant drop, yeah.
Yeah, but to start with, we couldn't have any seats.
Yep.
So it was just takeaway. And, people were really good. They were patient. There's a bit of a wait at times. Barbecue's not quick and easy to do.
No, it's not, no.
And, they do understand that. And we can serve up to, 45, 50 people an hour at the peak if we need to. But it's just that the orders were just massive. And it wasn't just a burger and a brisket box. It was a family box, 4 burgers. We came up with the concept of a heat and eat pack. So we'd cook the brisket, we'd chill it, slice it and put it in a oven-proof bag. So that brisket now you can take home, put it in the microwave for 3 minutes or put it in the oven for 15 minutes. And people were able to have Black Bear every night of the week. So
good.
So at the peak of it, we were doing 400 to 500 bags of chilled brisket a week.
Wow.
The bags that I sourced for them, we had to get from Ireland.
Yep.
No, it's not just a normal Cryovac bag. It's one that you can actually put in the oven.
Right.
So it was a lot of hard work, a lot of early mornings and late nights prepping all that. But it helped us through the COVID period.
Yeah. So that's 500 bags a week that can feed a family for a week.
No, not so much. Like each bag was sort of about 350 grams of brisket.
Okay.
So for some people, a single serve. Others feed 2.
Yeah.
We had brisket, pork belly, and we had the Hungry Bear pack, which had a bit of each in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the different portions there, but it proved quite popular. The guys coming up and just getting 8 or 10 packs to put in their freezer.
Yeah.
Then get home on a Monday night, no Black Bears open, so bang straight in the oven, dinner's ready.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's what we do here at the house as well. I fire up the big smoker and I'll fill that up and then cryovac it in in the nighttime into meal-sized portions and freeze that. It's amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, to me, brisket's better the next day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Most meals are.
Yeah. So what is probably your favourite thing that you get to do at Black Bear?
I like it when I get to talk to the people. You know, I'll walk around and pick up the dirty plates or whatever and clean the tables. Just ask them if they enjoyed the experience. You know, I really like talking to the people. But in saying that, I don't mind going out and scrubbing the toilets if it needs to be done. You know, it's the whole premise. You know, it's not just this section's your section. Everyone chips in and does their own little bit. You know, I've even got out a hammer and a nail and helped them with the build because the boys are all carpenters. So, you know, there's building been going on ever since we started. We're expanding and yeah.
If you're looking for your next barbecue smoker or grill, JAGRD Woodfired has got what you need. Owners Julianne and Glenn are multiple award-winning barbecue competitors who've even travelled to the US to compete at the World Barbecue Championships in Houston, Texas. Based out of Perth and shipping nationwide, JAGRD is one of the largest pit builders in the country and has an ever-growing lineup of meat cooking machinery. Not only do they have their now famous smoker ovens, their incredibly efficient gravity-fed cabinets are proving extremely popular in commercial settings, and they also make some of the most stylish asado grills you're ever going to see. JAGRD is also well known for amazingly detailed custom work ranging from backyard designs all the way to installations in commercial kitchens. Proudly Australian designed, owned and manufactured, you can find out more at jagrdwoodfired.com.au, spelled JAGRD. Once again, head to jagrdwoodfired.com.au, spelled JAGRD, to learn more.
Got a project you'd like to work on with the SHC team? Shoot Ben an email on ben@smokinghotconfessions.com and let's have a conversation.
So now it's time for segment 2, and I thought we might kick things off by finding out about Butcher Wars, because I know that you're the man behind Butcher Wars, so give us a bit of an idea of how all that got started.
Okay, so Butcher Wars started from Jay Beaumont, his event in Meatstock. He wanted to showcase butchers because his grandparents were actually butchers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they were butchers in Sydney. He tells me that they were probably one of the first butchers to wear all white.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a bit of history there for Jay. And he'd seen all these master chefs and home renovation shows, and he said, okay, let's put butchers on the pedestal. So I saw the advertisements coming up on social media, and I said, oh, Butcher Wars. And I just started myself at TAFE, and I thought, geez, I'd love to have a crack at this, competing. And I thought about it for a couple of days, actually didn't sleep for a couple of days thinking about it. So I finally got hold of Jay's phone number. I rang him up and asked him all about it. So at the end of our conversation, I ended up saying, listen, mate, I won't compete because there's a lot better butchers out there than me, but I'd love to come and help you. And he was so grateful that I offered that. So I've turned up to Meatstock on the Saturday, had a look around. They had Barber Wars, which was a good event, but the crowd wasn't really right into it. And I thought, okay, I don't know how this is going to go tomorrow. So Jade told me to turn up at 11 o'clock for 11:30 start. So I'll get there at 7:30 in the morning. Luckily I did, so I had to clean up all the hair from the barbers, and we got the place ready.
Oh, wow.
So we got it all ready, and then this little bloke with a beard turns up called George. So he was there to help me also. And I said, okay, wow, this bloke's loud, noisy, but he seems like a nice fella. So we get there, and all the butchers start arriving. I knew some of them, and some of them I hadn't met before, so we're just getting them all organised. Some of them have brought big tables, which they weren't allowed to. So, they'd given them rules beforehand, but being the first one, we didn't know what to expect. The butchers didn't know what to expect. So the first round comes, and we're in the auditorium at Homebush, and all of a sudden now there's 100 people there, and then there's 400 people there, and then there's not one seat left in the auditorium. and Jess Prowles was emceeing the event. So it was the first time I met Jess. She was lovely too. So I bounced off her a little bit with a little bit of the commentary that she was doing. George was there with his broom sweeping up, and we're just trying to make things between rounds. Like there's only like 10 minutes between rounds, so we don't want to lose the crowd. Yep. So we've got to get the meat away. We've got to do all that. And by the end of the day, each round was just crazy with the amount of the crowd, the audience. We're doing the Mexican wave. People were cheering there for butchers, and I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So I walked away after probably about 8, 9 o'clock at night after I had to pack all the meat up because we give all the meat to Oz Harvest for charity.
Oh, very good.
So they wanted it all packed up nicely, so we did all that. I got home and my wife said, how was your day? I said, buggered. I did 40,000 steps that day.
Oh, wow.
But I said, what a great event for the industry. I really enjoyed it. I thought, I hope it happens again next year. And then I see Auckland, Meatstock. So I rang Jay, probably 3 or 4 months out, so a little bit of preparation for this one. And he said, I want you on board. I want you to come over to Auckland and help us, la-da-da. So it was a real battle to get the Auckland butchers involved.
Why is that?
Like a lot of butchers are, not scared, but, it's being up on stage is not something they're used to.
Okay.
So anyway, we got the full crew up there, and I arrived at the airport in Auckland at 12 p.m. at night. And I turned my phone on after getting off the plane, and I got a message from Jay, please set your alarm for 4:15 a.m.
Oh, God.
So from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, getting to the hotel room. And then I get there and I'm sleeping about 5 metres from Jay, who snores louder than the XBT. So I probably had about half an hour's sleep. We get there, like my involvement isn't just butcher walls at Meatstock anymore. It's moving fences, getting the whole, helping the staging, chairs, making sure the cool room's there, the meat's delivered. So there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that myself, George and Stuart do. And we've got Paul Suleiman and Timmy Waller, a couple of the other guys really help out where they can. Organising the judges and all that. So it's a mass production. It really is. And Butcher Wars has just gone from strength to strength to strength. We've had butchers from Italy, we've had butchers from Scotland, America, Ireland, France, French, I should say, Canada, all come over to various events to compete. Brazil. So that's how I met the butchers from Brazil. They came over to compete. And so therefore we ended up doing a Butcher Wars while we were over in Brazil.
Oh, you guys were actually competing in that, were you?
Yeah, so there was only 6 butchers competing. They had 2 rounds of 3.
Yep.
I actually competed myself and Craig Munro from Munro's Meats. Really nice fella. Glenn Dumbrell and George were judges. So we get there and I'm about to compete. I borrowed some knives. I wasn't really prepared. I just wanted to help out to get the event running up there. So we get there and there's about 8 cameras up on the stage, and my mate up there, Aldo, he's there talking. I sort of tell me what he was saying, and then another guy jumps up and he comes up to my ear and he goes, Shannon, this is going to the Brazilian news. There's going to be 32 million people watching this.
Oh wow! How awesome!
So not the whole event, but just a introduction to the event. What's happening?
Yeah.
And straight away I had to go and change my undies.
Yeah, I'll bet.
But even in front of the 600-700 people there that were watching, it's very daunting. And but by the end of it, they were there clapping and cheering, and the Brazilian guys came first and second. But for me, what really highlighted that was the effort that they put in. Like they came over to Sydney and they saw what the guys were doing.
Yep.
And to get there and see the preparation they put in, the products they put up, and no doubt, should have they won? Yes, they should have won. They were awesome. They were fantastic. Butchers over there are like rock stars.
Yeah.
even when I was there, like I had 400 people take a selfie with me.
Oh, wow.
And like, let's go, photo with me? Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. It was crazy. It really was.
Yeah.
It was. So there's supposed to be one in a couple of weeks in Greece.
Wow.
That we just found out last night that's got postponed.
I dare say, yep.
Yeah. So actually the guy that was running it, John, he came to Melbourne last year to compete.
Okay, yep.
So he's turned up from Greece, and obviously Meatstock got cancelled. So yeah, he was devastated.
Yeah.
Just to say that, so we ended up taking him to a Weber store. Many thanks to Weber. And he was able to present his presentation that he was going to do at Butcher Wars inside the Weber store to 30 or 40 people.
Oh, well, that's good.
And he put it on Facebook, and he ended up getting about 8,000 views.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, so it really helped him. It made his trip.
Yeah.
For him not to compete, he had sponsors and all that helped him come over. So yeah, it really helped him that way.
So just if there's any listeners out there who are not familiar with what Butcher Wars actually is, can you just give us a bit of a quick 30-second nuts and bolts breakdown of what it actually is?
Certainly can, because it seems like 30 seconds when you're up there. So the butchers get 30 minutes to cut, break down, present half a saddle of pork and a side of lamb. They can bring any garnishes they want. They've got to present it on the same board that they're cutting on. It's action-packed from start to finish.
Yeah, there is something that's really magnetic about seeing butchers at work. I was doing some work a couple of years ago with the butcher shop up here, and the head butcher there, he did a video. He hung up a side of beef and just made a video of him slicing this, breaking down this side of beef. Set it to some music, put it up on Facebook, 17 million views.
Yeah.
It went viral. It was insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of interest now in butchery. There really is, from sausage making to carcass breakdown, the whole lot. And butchers are doing a really good job, like blokes like Scotty Evans, incredible. Yeah, his following that he's got, the love that people give for Scotty is amazing.
Yeah. He's got like a little, it's East Blaxland Butchery, isn't it?
That's correct, yeah.
That's him, yeah. He's got like his own little sort of cult happening down there.
He's got that in Sydney. Glenn Dumbrell's got that in Melbourne.
Exactly, yeah.
So there's, butchers are really, you got the squealing pig up in Brisbane. He got attacked by vegans. His Facebook profile went from 400 people to 23,000 in a week. And he's got the vegans to thank for that.
Yeah.
But on top of that, he's doing good stuff.
Of course, yeah.
And he's making some of the best pies. He does one of the best brisket and macaroni pies in the world.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah. So,
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, no, he's very good. Burpengary, I think he's at.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just on the Gold Coast. I'm not too far away.
Yeah, no, really nice fella.
Cool.
He, just as briefly on Butcher Wars, he came to Butcher Wars in Sydney about 2 years ago, and he hasn't missed one since.
Oh, right.
He just loves the way the butchers interact with each other. Like at first we thought, okay, there's going to be a couple of high flyers. Yeah, I'm better than you, but it's not about that. The butchers really behind the scenes build up a real friendship, and we've got a whole big network now of butchers. And I ring butchers nearly every day that have been involved. We chat, see how they are, especially during COVID. Like butchers were doing it really tough, not because it was quiet, but because they were getting absolutely
smashed.
Yeah. And still, their takings are up now. So a lot of them have, cut their hours back so they can cope.
Oh, right. Okay. So they've got enough time to prep all the stock for the next day and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. It was just too hard for them. And even mentally, you can't do those 15-hour days all the day. Yeah. Week in, week out.
No. But seeing as we're now talking about butchers and butcher shops and all that sort of stuff, you're working on yet another new project. You've got the Butcher's Cookbook. Tell us what's happening there.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this for about 5 years. It was a bit of a dream I had. I was going to call it, cooking straight from the butcher's mouth. I was going to do the book myself. I had no idea what I was thinking of and doing. So a couple of years ago, I spoke to Jay, and he's written some cookbooks before, and we sent a few emails to each other about it, and didn't go anywhere. We were both busy. So when COVID sort of hit, I said, let's meet halfway, Port Macquarie, Sydney. So we had a weekend and we said, okay, let's make this happen. So I've had to go around the country or by phone call, emails, and I signed up 50 butchers around the country.
Right.
So each butcher has to submit 2 recipes and a little bio about themselves.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so we're at about 90% of recipes coming in. So the book sold out. And some of the pictures and the recipe these guys are coming up with, absolutely incredible.
I saw some of the teaser shots. It looks amazing.
Yes. Yeah, there's some really, really good stuff. You know, the butchers have had to go out and get their own photographers. But each butcher I've spoken to have really enjoyed doing it. It's something that they don't do day to day. And their social media, those that have posted on their social media has gone ballistic, 300-400 likes, 80 comments. A lot of them are going to sell out of the book before it even hits the store, which won't be till February next year. A good friend of mine's doing the forward, young Jess Prowles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she's going to do the forward for the cookbook, just explaining how important the butcher is to a community and even to a barbecue team. Like having a proper butcher for a barbecue team is really, really important.
It's a key. Yeah, yeah.
So when I was smoking Coles Barbecue, when we got Reserve Grand Champion, I was working for a place in Sydney called the Meat Boutique. That weekend, they got Reserve Grand Champion. Smoking Coles got Best Lamb. Weber Kennel Club got Best in Pork. So we got RGC, first in lamb, first in pork, 5th in brisket, all from this one butcher shop.
Wow, that's a great indication of the quality and the degree of craftsmanship that's gone into the butchery.
It didn't take off with the low and slow.
No.
Once again, it's probably marketing, but the quality of it, but they knew, probably because I was working there too, the relationship with the teams, what they wanted, we were able to source it and get it in.
Yeah, yeah.
And building up a relationship with your butcher, whether you're a home cook or a competitor cook, really, really important. If you've got a little passion for barbecue, you've got to know your butcher's first name. You can't just go up there and say, oh, I saw a brisket, I'm going to go buy a brisket off the butcher. Because that butcher won't have the brisket you want.
No.
Okay? Or a Boston butt. A lot of butchers still don't know what a Boston butt is unless they're in the barbecue scene.
No, they don't.
Ribs, the shiners that the butchers sell for $29.99. Okay? They've got a purpose, but they're not good for barbecuing in the competition scene.
No, they're not. They're not. But I'm curious now that you've just said that there is a purpose for shiners. What's the purpose?
Well, your everyday cook.
Okay.
To them, it's a great meal. It falls off the meat falls off the bone. Yeah, how good am I? The meat's falling off the bone. It's fantastic. And when I first started in the butchery, I was actually working for Primo Small Goods for a while as a sales rep. And there was a pizza shop wanting these American-style ribs. Yeah, okay, 20 cents a kilo. We were throwing them out. Butchers were throwing them out when I started.
Wow, 20 cents a kilo. My God.
So it went from 10 kilos a week, and then all of a sudden it was 20, 30. So the price obviously went up, 50 cents, $1. And then within about a year, I remember us selling 400 kilos in one day once.
Wow.
And they were shiners.
Yeah.
Because that's how butchers are trained.
Of course, yeah.
To take as much meat as they can off the bone. So, and still to this day, for profit for a butcher, the shiner's the best value.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So for them to leave meat on that is not destroying, but lessening another cut.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because the butchers have to choose between the belly and the ribs.
That's right. And belly's so popular now with MasterChef and all that. That's another thing. MasterChef is, if someone's doing beef cheeks, you can't get enough beef cheeks. So it's influenced by media.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. It'd be interesting to know if MasterChef would be able to publish recipes and things beforehand, so butchers would be able to get ready in advance. Yeah,
it'd be good, but it doesn't happen like that.
No.
Like way back when I had my shop, Sunday paper, they'd always have a cooking thing. And it wouldn't be as much as MasterChef, but you see skirt steak. Okay, so skirt steak's in this week. Okay, so I'll just buy a couple of kilos of that because I'm more than likely going to get someone to ask for it.
Yeah.
So, butcher's got to be aware and say, okay, MasterChef's, doing, even stuff like kangaroo. A lot of butchers don't carry kangaroo anymore.
No.
But if it comes up on TV, there's going to be 4 or 5% of the population that are going to want to try it.
You're listening to the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions podcast with massive barbecue nerd Ben Arnott.
Alrighty, Shannon. Now, this is the third segment where we usually wrap up the interview with a bit of a lesson for the viewers and the listeners, sharing some of your expertise. Now, as you mentioned before, you do work at TAFE and you actually teach a game meat course. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so for 5 years now, or over 5 years, I've been at TAFE teaching the game meat harvesting. So any licensed harvester that harvests roos, deers, camels, rabbits for human consumption or pet food, they need to do a hygiene course through me at TAFE. I look after all of Victoria, WA and New South Wales.
Oh, wow.
So it's all online. The teaching that I do go out and do a few workshops from time to time for large numbers. And it's really interesting. If you haven't eaten game meat, do it. It's really good for the environment. A lot of them are pests, but they do eat really, really nice. I know it's a bit expensive if you need to buy it from a premises, but it's worth it from time to time.
Yeah, right. So when you're saying that you teach the hygiene classes, what's different between when you're processing a traditional animal like a pig or a cow versus a game like deer or rabbit? Okay, well, the pig and the cow, they're all slaughtered in an abattoir, whereas out in the field, these animals are slaughtered out in the field, so they need to be dressed out in the field. They need to bleed them. You need to take the guts out in an open field. So, to bleed an animal's got to be done within 3 minutes. To gut the animal's got to be done within 20 minutes. You've got to have temperature control all the way from the time it's to field until it gets to the chiller box. So the carcass is delivered to a chiller box. From that chiller box is then gone to a processing plant where it does get inspected by a meat inspector still. And then, so it's really about sanitising between your cuts, washing your hands, making sure that your equipment's clean before you use it, knowing the regulations, knowing you've got the right licenses. Okay, there's a lot of weekend warriors out there. Yeah. Which is good. Like they've got a place as long as they're doing the right thing. Because of course, it's a big industry. We used to export $75 million of kangaroo to Russia every year. Really? Because of some poor hygiene that stopped overnight. So the country had $75 million a year to zero overnight. What happened there? It was bad hygiene by some people. So that's why the course that we do is really increased in how we do it. And there's a lot of really good people in the industry pushing towards the standards. We've tried to get Russia back. It hasn't happened yet. But there are other markets opening up around the world for roo meat because there's a lot of roos in Australia. I heard the other day it's like 7 million wild camels. Really? Deer. The deer population is crazy. Huh. I had no idea. In your lounge room, up on the sunny Gold Coast, but there's a lot of deer out in the bush and even wild pigs. There's probably 55 million wild pigs, causing probably $20 million worth of damage a year to fences and crops. It's a real problem for farmers. There is a guy down at the south of Sydney, Rob Galena. He's in the process of doing a mobile processing plant for game meat. So that's interesting. He's had this idea for a couple of years and he's just about to open it up. He's a good mate of mine. I've actually taken Big Mo Cason down for a few weekends and days down there with Rob. So we've taken Mo out in the bush. Obviously, Mo can't shoot because he hasn't got a license in Australia. But just enjoying the
lifestyle out there, cooking. We had some deer on the spit. We had a little rib competition while we're out in the bush. I even took Mo to Anzac Day.
Oh, wow. He would have appreciated that.
A pub down in Anzac Day, yes. He really did appreciate it. He didn't appreciate it the next day. But we taught him about Two Up. The locals really enjoyed it, and he really understood and respected what the day was all about, being a veteran himself.
Yeah. How did he find the Aussie bush?
Yeah, like he just loves it. Like every time he's come out since, he'll plan a week either side of Meatstock to go out bush.
Okay.
So we're all in our little swags, but Mo's got a 4-man tent with a large blow-up bed. Yeah, but he loves it. He does a lot of hunting at home. So to get him out here, and he really, really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, what do you think would be your personal favourite game to hunt and clean and eat?
I like kangaroo. I really do. Like the kangaroo tail stew is amazing.
Okay.
I think it's better than an oxtail. So much more flavour and in depth. Even the raw kangaroo, the carpaccio, done correctly.
Raw kangaroo.
Yeah, amazing.
You're not worried about worms and all that sort of stuff?
Well, you've got to know how to inspect the carcass.
Okay.
So that's sort of one of my jobs. So yes, I'm a qualified meat inspector as well. So I am able to look at that. But most regular hunters would be able to find that. There are some worms, but if the worms are in the joints, they're not going to affect the meat. Okay, so there's certain things to look out for in the rib. But one, as a butcher, I probably shouldn't say this, but a 200-gram steak will take 200 litres of water to produce.
Okay.
So one little steak.
Yeah.
Okay, whereas kangaroo, you're looking at about 20 litres.
Oh, okay.
So for sustainability and the environment, kangaroo is much better.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I thought you were going to tell me some horrible story about steaks and worms. I was going to say, don't ruin it for me. Don't ruin steaks for me. Don't do it.
Not at all. No, I love the steak too. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
What's your favourite steak, Ben?
Oh, I do love ribeye. But I think that's everyone's kind of standard favourite.
Yeah, I like a T-bone, so you get that two different textures.
Yeah.
Good quality T-bone.
Yeah. Now, for me, it's all about the marbling. But tell me a bit more about this kangaroo stew. What do you put in the pot?
Oh, you put whatever you got. You got carrots, you got potatoes. Yeah, you got your beef stock or vegetable stock, and you just let it sit there from the morning till the night time.
And do you season it with native herbs and spices, or just salt and pepper?
Or native herbs and spices, like Rob, who does it, he calls himself a bit of a bush cook. He does really well. We've done actually a couple of demonstrations for chefs ourselves. I'd break down the carcass and he would do some cooking demonstrations for him. And he does use some natural herbs. We were lucky enough to go to Broken Hill, and we had 30 Aboriginal students up there.
Oh, yeah.
Ranging from 18 years to 70.
Wow.
So even elders in the local community. And I did my course up there with them. So I was teaching them how to harvest hygienically, and they really appreciated it. And the next night we had a fire and we cooked up, and we cooked kangaroo tail just in the coals, their dampers. Absolutely amazing experience. It really was. I'd rate that up there with going to Brazil.
Oh, no doubt about that at all.
Broken Hill, Brazil, totally different places, but to me, they were life-changing experiences.
Well, there'd be quite the opportunity there if there are so many wild animals for some equitable programming for Indigenous communities. They'd be able to set up some of these industries. You're talking about a $75 million industry for Russia. Surely there'd be government programs set up to help Indigenous communities sort of take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, like that was one of the main reasons I did the course. So they were looking at the tourism so they could harvest and feed the tourists. But you've got the problem of the carcass has still got to go through that meat inspection.
Of course.
Okay, so there's a lot of hurdles for them to overcome. We are still working through them with that to, make it viable for them.
So good, man. I love that. I love that so much.
They're great people. Like, they really are. Like, it's so much fun, so many laughter. There's so many stories.
Yeah. So if you were to pick a game meat then that deserves a place at competition barbecue, what would you say that is?
Yeah, like a lot of guys won't cook it because it's not really, for low and slow, there's not too much fat to it. But at SEA event, you could have the kangaroo stew or you could have some venison backstrap. There's opportunity there, I think, but maybe not so on the ABA.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't imagine that some kangaroo brisket would go down real well.
No, there's like very little fat. There's no fat at all. Like in saying that, you could do a kangaroo tail stew in the smoker, just like you do in the campfire, and still come out beautiful. It's
a good point. Yeah, it would be very nice.
There are options like that. Even the venison shoulder in a stew, you could do that quite easily. Yeah, if anything dry with no fat, if you add moisture, you're on a good path. But if you're doing a stew or venison, it doesn't matter. If you're doing lamb, chicken, pork, any stew you're doing, make double what you need because it's so good the next day.
Yeah.
I do that with my barbecue. If I've got 4 people over for dinner and I'll cook a brisket, I'll cook a full brisket because I can utilise that in spring rolls, pies, quiches. I did a brisket lasagna the other day. Absolutely amazing. First time I've done that. Always cook extra when you're barbecuing. Go to that, you paying all that money for coals and the meat, cook that little bit extra.
Definitely. All right, that's probably a good point for us now to start wrapping up the episode. So I'm going to throw it over to you now. Give a shout out, give some thanks to people that have helped you along the way, and make sure you tell everybody where they can track you down on the internet.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for having us, Ben. Big shout out to Jay Beaumont, the Meatstock crew. They really changed my life. That experience I've had with them. Victoria Knox Knife, really helped me out. Black Bear Barbecue, just recently Weber. Thanks guys. I'm happy. I'm not getting paid by you, but I love doing stuff for you. I don't do a lot of stuff for the money. And a big shout out to all the butchers around Australia. You guys, whether you compete in butcher wars or not, you're doing the community. You're feeding the country. So really, well done to you guys. Like, go out there, love your butcher, get to know your butcher. Really, really important.
So good, mate. So good. Now, just make sure you do tell everybody where we can find you on the internet.
Oh, yes. You can find me at Instagram, All Things Meat. Okay. So it's All Things Meat. I came up with that profile a couple of years ago and it's stuck.
Suits.
Yeah. And Black Bear Boutique Butchery on Facebook.
I'm excited to see what you come up with there. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. It is exciting, but it's going to be hard work. But we're looking forward to it.
No doubt, man. And I'm absolutely sure you're up to the task.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah. Well, look, thanks very much for coming on board the show today. I've really appreciated your time. I've learned a lot. I've got pages of notes here, pages of notes. So, yeah, thank you very much for sharing some of your experiences and wisdom with us all.
No worries. One more thing, Ben. I just want to say what great work you do too.
Oh, thank you, mate. I appreciate it.
Well done. I love listening to you guys every week.
Alrighty, there you have it, family. That was the incredible Shannon Walker from, oh my goodness, where do we even start? Black Bear Barbecue, Butcher Wars, the new upcoming cookbook, the Butcher Cookbook. He teaches those game meat courses at TAFE. I mean, this guy he's all over the meat industry. It's absolutely fantastic. This episode has been riveting for me. I'm sure it has for you. And I have, as I said just a couple of minutes ago, I've learned a ton from it. So I'm really looking forward to being able to get this out to you very soon. So before we go, I just want to remind you of some of the announcements that we had earlier. Big thanks go to JAGRD for helping us bring out this episode to you. They've jumped on board as a podcast partner. If you are looking for your next barbecue, smoker, grill, perilla, steak presses, if you've seen the steak press that I use in my videos, that comes from JAGRD. It is a brilliant bit of gear. Do make sure you check them out, jagrdwoodfired.com.au. And again, huge thanks to them for being a part of the show. We do still have that ebook available for you over on the website, The Beginner's Guide to Real Barbecue. So if you've just heard all this talk about all this delicious meat here with Shannon, make sure you do head over onto SmokingHotConfessions.com, have a bit of a click around, pop your details into the pop-up window when it does appear, and we'll send that out to you straight away. Come join us on the Facebook group, Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Community. It is the nicest little corner of the internet, and it's a really positive, uplifting place to be. And the last one is, of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, do give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a thumbs up. No. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a like, a share, drop a comment if you want to with a couple of questions. We'd really appreciate it. If you're watching on Instagram TV, we want the little hearts and the follows. They're fantastic little things. And if you are listening on a podcast app, particularly if it's Apple, do give us a 5-star rating and review. That will really help us out. So that is about all the time we have for today. Again, huge thanks to Shannon for coming on board. Huge thanks to JAGRD for being our podcast partner. And until next time, take care of each other and keep on queuing.
Thanks for listening to the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast. Head on over to SmokingHotConfessions.com for recipes, tips, and Ben's own confessions.